My parents called me trash for marrying a nobody black man, while praising my sister for marrying into money. Can you believe your own family could call you trash, just because of who you love? They praised my sister for marrying rich, while I was branded an embarrassment. What they didn't know was the truth about my husband, the man they dismissed as a nobody. And by the time they found out, it was already too late to undo the damage. I stood there, the soft cotton of the handkerchief pinched between my fingers, the embroidery slightly fraying. R&M ours. Someone had carelessly dropped it. Maybe me, maybe someone else trying to be cruel in quiet ways. But the fact that it was found beside the trash bin? That felt deliberate, like an exclamation mark at the end of a sentence no one dared say aloud. The air outside the country club was thick and sticky, like a breath you hold too long. Marcus had walked ahead toward the car, his hands in his pockets, shoulders squared but weary. I took a few steps behind him, my heels clicking on the stone path. Neither of us said a word until we reached the vehicle. He opened the passenger side door for me, the same way he always did. Still a gentleman, even after what just happened. You okay? He asked softly as I settled in. I'm not sure what that word even means anymore, I replied, folding the handkerchief carefully in my lap like it still held something sacred. The ride home was quiet. Not tense, just hollow, like something had been scooped out of us and left back there on that brunch table, between the silver pitchers and the clinking mimosas. I didn't cry. I didn't need to. Instead, I counted the number of times I'd been sat at the kids' table, even in my 30s. The birthdays skipped, the business milestones they never asked about. The way Mom had glanced at Marcus like he dragged dirt onto the white carpet of her perfect image. I counted how many times I had let it slide. How many times I'd whispered to myself, they just don't understand yet. But the truth was, they did understand. They just didn't care. By the time we reached the driveway, Marcus was already loosening his tie. Our modest craftsman-style home nestled quietly on the east edge of Atlanta. We bought it together 5 years ago. No inheritance, no help, just our own savings, and alone, we paid it off early. I opened the front door, and the scent of lavender hit me. The oil diffuser had timed itself to perfection. How ironic. Everything inside our home ran smoother than any family function I'd ever attended. Marcus headed to the kitchen. I'll make tea, he offered, like he always did when something stung too deep to bandage with words. I nodded and made my way to the living room, still holding the handkerchief. I placed it down on the coffee table next to the coaster that read, "Love grows best in little houses." There was a moment, a flicker, where I almost laughed, but it was bitter, sharp. I sat down and opened my laptop. I hadn't planned to do this today, not like this, but something inside me had tilted, cracked open. Maybe it was the way my mother had looked at me when she said, "You married down, dear." As if love were a stock value. As if Marcus, the man who stayed up all night with me through failed startups and sudden layoffs, was less than the plastic charm glued to Callista's fiancé's fake smile. What they didn't know was that Marcus wasn't a janitor. He never had been. That was just the story we let them believe. He owned a janitorial company, 5 contracts across the state, over 60 employees, and a silent partnership in a commercial real estate group that had just closed on a $12 million portfolio. But we never corrected them, because we wanted to see if they ever loved me for me. Full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.